Today I am ranking every single Beatles song. I'm counting all 13 UK studio albums including the US's Magical Mystery Tour, everything from past masters, and the single and B-side from the anthology series. The grading system goes like this. It's based off 0 to 10 scale. Let's get right into it. Coming in at very last place, we have Wild Honey Pie. It's drivel. After that, Revolution 9. It's an interesting concept, but it sucks. This is probably what Carnival of Light unfortunately would sound like. Number 203, Maggie May. It's pleasing to the ears, but it's really short and sort of useless. It's a worse version of Her Majesty. 202 is Dig It. The extended version on the Super Deluxe of Let It Be is worth a listen. The original really isn't. Number 201 is Why Don't We Do It in the Road. I never saw the appeal behind this one on the White Album. The instrumental is okay, but come on. Number 200 is A Taste of Honey, an absolutely lifeless cover. 199 is P.S. I Love You from their debut album. It's their weakest original song. 198 is Little Child, super forgettable. Number 197 is Don't Pass Me By. Don't get me wrong, I do like that Ringo's starting to do some songwriting here, but at this point I can't help but think he could have been 5 years better at songwriting at this point. Number 196 is Mr. Moonlight. I used to kind of like this song, but I kind of realized the more you listen to it, the more it gets exposed as a lifeless cover. Number 195 is 𝕤𝕚𝕓𝕓𝕖, 𝕤𝕚𝕓𝕓. I know there are some huge fans of this song out here, and it's not the worst song ever, but John and George might disagree with you on that one. Also, I think the Stones and the Clash both did cod reggae way better than the Beatles. Number 194 is Roll Over Beethoven, boring cover. Number 193 is Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby from Beatles for Sale. This was considered a good closing track, and I also don't like the echoed vocals. Number 192, I Want to Be Your Man. Even though the Beatles actually wrote this song, the Stones absolutely obliterated Ringo's boring vocal here. Number 191 is Piggies. This is a weird song from George. It's supposed to be a joke, but it's not that funny. Number 190, Maxwell's Silver Hammer. Sort of like 𝕤𝕚𝕓𝕓𝕓𝕑 𝕤𝕚𝕓𝕑. It's a catchy song, but massive points get taken away for how much the other Beatles hated this song. Ringo said that this was the worst session ever when they were recording this song. None of the other Beatles dug this song, so for deeper fans, it's just a reminder of how bossy Paul was by the end of the band's lifespan. Number 189 is Matchbox, probably Ringo's most boring vocal ever, which is saying something, but I do like the ending. Number 188, Thank You Girl. The intro and outro is weird, but the bridge is fine. Number 187, Money, That's What I Want. It's just a weird and sort of meh album closer. Number 186, Bad Boy. I do like the riff to the song, but this doesn't feel like John. Number 185, Honey Pie. I do like that it sounds Ray Davies-esque, but this is definitely Paul's grainy music. Number 184, Goodnight. I actually do like George Martin's orchestration here, and it definitely does its job as a lullaby. It will put you to sleep, but that's what it's meant to do. I never got why this got so much hate, like this was put under, freaking Wild Honey Pie. That's crazy. Number 183, Chains. I do think George has a better vocal here than on Do You Want to Know a Secret, but this is still a pretty lifeless song. Number 182, Rocky Raccoon, goofy grainy music. Number 181, Your Mother Should Know. This is more goofy grainy music, but at the end I really do like the part where they go, yeah. Number 180, this song is kind of interesting as a rolling, rocker, but it's pretty generic. Number 179, Run For Your Life. John said in his last public interview that this was his least favorite Beatles song. It's a shame because I do like the instrumental, but the lyrics are, Number 178, You Know My Name, Look Up the Number. Look, I know the song isn't supposed to be good, but there's something about it that I actually really dig. If you're going to listen to this song though, don't go for the originally released B-side that's on Past Masters. Go for the full version on Anthology 2. It's got some Brian Jones saxophone, which is pretty cool. Number 177, You Really Got a Hold on Me. Looking back on some parts of this song, John sounds like he's impersonating a clean old man, but it's a decent cover. Number 176, Flying, sort of like You Know My Name. This is one of the oddest songs in their entire discography, but it's worth a listen, and it's one of the rare Lennon-McCartney-Harrison-Starkey compositions, so bonus points for that. Number 175, Blue Jay Way. Similar to the last ones, this one is a strange track, and it drones on for way too long. Number 174, I Don't Want to Spoil the Party. For early Beatles, the bridge and lyrics are way more interesting than other heartbreak songs they did, but it's still an early Beatles heartbreak song. Number 173, Dizzy Miss Lizzy. It's a nice energetic song, but it feels outdated compared to the rest of Help. Number 172, Anna, Go to Him. This song is just It's a song. Number 171, I'll Cry Instead. I do like how fast the song goes, and it does sound, pretty unique compared to the rest of A Hard Day's Night, but it does seem to miss something. Number 170, Baby It's You. This is like if Anna Go To Him had a bit more care thrown at it. Number 169, I'll Get You. It's a nice, lighthearted, early track. Number 168, When I'm 64. I know this is going to get some flack from Paul fans. I mean, it's a nice track, but not really. Number 167, You Like Me Too Much. Help-wise, the lyrics are really outdated and weak, but I do like the piano part. Number 166, I'm Happy Just to Dance With You. The lyrics and vocals weigh down the instrumental heavily here. Number 165, Do You Want to Know a Secret? George's vocal is straight up flat in some parts here, but otherwise, it's a pretty safe introduction to his vocals. Number 164, Misery. I'm not sure what it is about this song, but I think it's one of the best forgettable early Beatles tracks. Number 163, Boys. This is a rare example of Ringo actually trying on lead vocals. Unfortunately, he probably set the bar too high here. Number 162, Don't Bother Me. For George's first songwriting credit, it could be much worse. Number 161, When I Get Home. Similar to I'll Cry Instead, this one is just missing something, Maybe it's just the weird, chorus harmonies. Number 160, The Continuing Story of Bungalow Bill. The flamenco sample in the beginning is actually super underrated in my opinion, and the rest of the song is just an enjoyable sing-along. Number 159, Not a Second Time. I feel like this one gets too much hate. Is it forgettable? Yeah, but that's kind of what makes it good. Number 158, She's a Woman. I think the guitar clanging on the song isn't bad, but it is polarizing, and the lyrics are kind of oversaturated. Number 157, Honey Don't. This is another example of Ringo actually trying on lead vocals. Number 156, What Goes On. This song actually has a few strengths for it being a 5. It's somewhat catchy, Ringo's in his element with the country style singing, and bonus points for it being the only Lennon-McCartney-Starkey song in the entire discography. Still, it's easily one of the weakest tracks on Rubber Soul, but I usually don't skip it, and maybe you shouldn't either. Number 155, Tell Me What You See. This song is strangely nostalgic for me. It might be Ringo's claves that he uses for percussion here. Number 154, Mother Nature's Son. The lyrics are whatever for me, especially Paul's, do-do-do-do, sort of making up noises to fill up the time habit he started picking up around here. But I do like the lo-fi production. You see this kind of stuff on McCartney, but he kind of picks up into this style more on Ram. Number 153, I Need You. The riff doesn't sound like any other Beatles song I can think of, but similar to You Like Me Too Much, George just wasn't on his A game for help. Number 152, Devil in Her Heart. I like the opening riff here, and the harmonies are nice. Number 151, Love You Too. I actually prefer this to Within You Without You, but combining those two, it shows that the Beatles were behind on the Stones, the Byrds, and even the Kinks on Raga Rock. Number 150, All I've Gotta Do. This is a worse No Reply mixed with Baby It's You. Number 149, Words of Love. This song is nice and relaxing. Number 148, I Call Your Name. This is proof of John's improvement in songwriting since Please Please Me. Number 147, Another Girl. Although Paul does the lead vocals here, I feel like Ringo actually would have done a pretty good job here as well. I like the bridge here, it complements the rest of the song nicely. Number 146, Ask Me Why. Something about this song is just a nice and fast listen, and the ending is also unorthodox for a Beatles song. Number 145, Till There Was You. This song has a nice wedding of the guitar and Paul actually trying on the vocals, and bonus points for George on the guitar here, using some Hendrix chords. Number 144, Tell Me Why. The guitar and piano go well together here. Number 143, Kansas City, Hey, 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 Hey. This song is a little bit underrated, I feel like, and Paul's vocals are pretty good. Number 142, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band Reprise. The beginning, guitar, and drums make this song memorable. Number 141, Act Naturally. Ringo is in his vocal element here, and it makes the song actually really enjoyable. Number 140, I Want to Tell You. I think this song is actually pretty underrated, but I can understand because the piano in the background does get monotonous. Number 139, Hold Me Tight. The double lead vocals here are a sign of good things to come. Number 138, Rock and Roll Music. I bet even by the time Beatles for Sale came out, this was an outdated cover, but it was probably a banger in the time. Number 137, Please Mr. Postman. This is an interesting cover, and it's cool that, they decided to cover some Motown stuff, but the original Marvelettes version is better. Number 136, I'll Be Back. This minor chorded song makes for an interesting early album track closer. Number 135, It's Only Love. It's weird, the guitar on the song almost makes it sound like there should be flies flying around it. But it's still good track filler. I think it actually fits really well on the US version of Rubber Soul, which is more folksy than the UK version. Number 134, For You Blue. Speaking of weird guitar, you know, the vocals are whatever here, more so the lyrics, but the guitar does keep the song afloat. Number 133, Savoy Truffle. I don't get why some people really do not like this song. I think it's alright, and the topic that it's talking about alone already makes it more interesting than Piggies. Number 132, Free as a Bird. Yeah, it's really overproduced, but they kind of had to do that, and you gotta imagine how cool it would have been to hear your favorite band making a new song for Anthology. Number 131, Only a Northern Song. I strongly prefer the Anthology version because it takes out all the crap that's distorting the original song, even though that's kind of against the point here. If you like that sort of vibe, then I would suggest Strawberry Alarm Clock's Wake Up It's Tomorrow album, because this is a lot like it. Number 130, Anytime at All. For Hard Day's Night, this is a very strong track, but in the entire Beatles canon, it's kind of filler. Number 129, She's Leaving Home. I know some people really dislike the song for whatever reason, and even though it's pretty schlocky, it is still pretty. Number 128, What You're Doing. The almost shouting for the chorus to go, look, you know, it provides for an interesting gimmick. Number 127, Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite. Similar to Only a Northern Song, there's a lot of crap being thrown on at the end of this song. It's almost like a poor man's version of Tomorrow Never Knows. Number 126, Good Morning, Good Morning. It's an underrated track on Sgt. Pepper, and this has some of Ringo's best drumming ever. Number 125, One After 909. It is filler for Let It Be, but is a neat callback to the early days. Number 124, Within You, Without You. Personally, I prefer Love You Too, like I said before. But this was a really cool way of the Beatles putting Raga Rock on the global map. Number 123, Dr. Robert. For some reason, people really do not like Dr. Robert. I don't get why. Revolver-wise, it's gonna be filler, but it's still a good rocker. But everywhere else, you know, it's a banger. Number 122, Every Little Thing. This is a nice little heartfelt track by Paul. Number 121, Birthday. It's funny because this does sound like some of their early stuff, but in a more mature way. It's almost like they're singing to a toddler trying to act older. Number 120, The Inner Light. This is the best of all of George's Indian-style songs, and that's because it's the most true to form. Number 119, Revolution 1. This is the inferior version. Come on, the shooby-doo-wahs are corny, but it's still solid. Number 118, Long Tall Sally. This is a nice, energetic Little Richard cover. Number 117, Wait. This is the most underrated song on Rubber Soul. I know it's a leftover from Help, but it's still really catchy. Number 116, Long, Long, Long. I like the laid-back stance this song takes and its lyrics about conversion, but I really hate the moaning and scraping at the end. It really ruins the song. Number 115, Real Love. I wish John's vocals were clear here, but it's obvious why they aren't, but this is easily the stronger Anthology track. Number 114, You Won't See Me. This is one of Paul's unhappy about love, but it doesn't sound like that, which makes it interesting. Number 113, You Can't Do That. I like the cowbell added here. Without it, this song would be too cookie cutter. Number 112, Yes It Is. For an early Beatles song, this has got some really great vocals and interesting subject matter, even though most people can't relate to it. Number 111, I'm Looking Through You. This is one of Paul's most bitter songs, even though it doesn't sound like that. So similar to You Won't See Me, it's kind of got that gimmick going for it. The Anthology version is also really cool. It sounds a bit like Bossa Nova. Number 110, Babies in Black. This is some of the best harmonizing the early Beatles ever did. Number 9, Old Brown Shoe. This is an underrated song. It's almost like George imitating John near the end of the Beatles' lifespan, but in a good way. Number 108, Glass Onion, also an underrated song. This is also an example of how John's nonsense vocals can actually work. Number 107, Martha My Dear. I dig the piano intro and also the White Album's typical departure from the original rock noise. Fun fact, Martha is actually Paul's dog. Number 106, I Mean Mine. Including the second verse twice was a weird move on Phil Spector's part when he was producing Let It Be, but it works. Number 105, Think For Yourself. This is one of the strongest George moments until the White Album. Similar to I'm Looking Through You, it's an angry yet catchy song. Number 104, Love Me Do. Yes, it's real simple, but it works, and for their first official song, it could have been a whole lot worse, and they could have been a whole lot more unsuccessful. Number 103, Cry Baby Cry. It's not the most memorable White Album song, but the English nursery rhyme Origins and Paul's Can You Take Me Back outro are both pretty cool. Number 102, Octopus's Garden. This and Act Naturally are the two songs where Ringo sounds like he's having the most fun on lead vocals. And, you know, his songwriting has taken a major step forward since Don't Pass Me By. Could it be George's help? Number 101, Sexy Sadie. We all know Sexy Sadie is actually a stand-in name for the Maharishi, so it's actually kind of cool that it's like an early diss track. Number 100, All Together Now. It can get annoying at times, but you cannot deny the togetherness you feel while listening to this song. Number 99, Classic Cookie. This video is now sponsored by Classic Cookie. A brand new flavor comes out November today. Link in the description below. Get some. Actual number 99 is I'm Down, Paul's own tribute to Little Richard, and showcases his versatile vocal range. Number 98, 8 Days a Week. I've always found this song a bit whatever, but it was a huge hit and just showed that the love song formula works. Number 97, This Boy. This is like if you took Yes It Is and took away the weird subject matter and added a bit of a country twinge. Number 96, It's All Too Much. This is like if the Beatles imitated the Grateful Dead or the Allman Brothers sort of jam band improv style, and because it's the Beatles, a lot of times it's actually better. Number 95, Dig a Pony. This is a nice, underrated Let It Be track, and it showed what they might have sounded like if they continued into the 70s. Unfortunately, they didn't. 94, Please Please Me. This is the song that's responsible for creating that original Beatles sound. It's good. Number 93, Baby You're a Rich Man. This is like if All You Need Is Love had less care put into it in every single way, but All You Need Is Love is incredible, so this still makes for a good listen. Number 92, From Me to You. I feel like this one was always, unfortunately, overlooked in the early Beatles canon, but because it always makes you feel good. Number 91, There's a Place. Underrated in terms of its songwriting. For early Beatles, this is deep for John. Number 90, Your Blues. I like how the Beatles tried a bit of everything throughout their entire lifetime, and this is a good attempt at blues/roots rock. Number 89, Fixing a Hole. I like Paul's rolling vocals, and I do like the guitar in the bridge. It contrasts well with the medieval sounding intro that the harpsichord brings. Number 88, Good Day Sunshine. While I was researching for this video, I discovered that this was actually their attempt of imitating the Lovin' Spoonful, and maybe, unfortunately, this is probably better than anything the Lovin' Spoonful ever made. Super fun, easy listening. Number 87, Lovely Rita. Underrated Sgt. Pepper's song. I don't get why people always bagged on this one, you know? It's got a cool subject matter, tells a story that's memorable, and the instrumental is trippy. Although I have to agree, the moaning at the end does get annoying. Number 86, Magical Mystery Tour. This is the song I think of when I compare the whole album to Sgt. Pepper. Both title tracks sort of introduce you to the album, and it's like you're about to see some sort of epic show. Number 85, Back in the USSR. I know that Paul did take inspiration from the Beach Boys here, but I really only see it in the harmonies for the bridge. Something like If I Fell or Girl are much more Beach Boys-esque in my opinion, but it's still a great album opener. Number 84, Yellow Submarine. I don't get why people hate this song unless it's due to overplaying, which, you know, it's not the Beatles' fault. There's no way any other children's song this odd could become a chart topper. Number 83, Across the Universe. Because I'm going off the album versions here, I like it a lot. You know, you can choose which version you like because there's also the non-Phil Spector Screwed With edition. But this is also some of John's deepest songwriting ever. Number 82, Lady Madonna. This song boogies, and it establishes a nice, memorable character, which a lot of Paul's later songs do. Number 81, The Ballad of John and Yoko. I'm not crazy about the lyrics here, but I really think that the beat is catchy. It could probably be because it was just John and Paul working on this song, so they had to sort of simplify some parts like the drums. I also like John's extra nasally vocals here. Number 80, Because. I think this song is a little bit underrated. It sets a cool ethereal tone for the end of Abbey Road. Number 79, with a little help from my friends, this is a fun song, and I bet any of the other Beatles could have done it, but I think the fun quality to it can mainly be credited to Ringo here. Number 78, Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except for Me and My Monkey. This is like if you accidentally let off a gun in a barn, everything just goes wild and crazy and no breathing allowed, and it's a good thing. Number 77, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Great intro for a great album. This is an example of a concept album song that stands on its own. Number 76, I'll Follow the Sun. Similar to Words of Love, this is a nice relaxing song on Beatles for Sale. And shouts to Ringo for slapping his knees for the percussion here. Number 75, Julia. This is John's only solo performed Beatles song, and it's really nice and heartfelt. There's a really cool version of this at the end of the Eleanor Rigby version on the Love album. Number 74, Got to Get You in My Life. This has an epic horns intro, and it's a really cool attempt at soul. Number 73, Drive My Car. Rubber Soul wise, I think this song is overrated, but it was a great introduction to the Beatles, showing the world their style transition. The bass in the song carries. Number 72, She Said, She Said. I used to think Revolver-wise this song was overrated until I listened to the Super Deluxe version that just came out. This song is pretty good. The lyrics are trippy, and the song sounds pretty heavy, which is a good thing. Number 71, And Your Bird Can Sing. This is my favorite song on Revolver. I would say you should check out the anthology version if it wasn't for Paul's giggling the whole time, but thanks to the Super Deluxe, we now have an ungiggled version that you can check out. It sounds like if the Byrds did a cover of this song. 70, Getting Better. Even though the lyrics can be sus, how can you not like this song and agree? Number 69, I'm a Loser. Call me a loser, but I actually like John's self-deprecating lyrics here. It feels very mature for Beatles for Sale. Number 68, Oh Darling. This might be the hardest Beatles song to sing. Very impressive vocals from Paul here. Number 67, Dear Prudence. The second half of this song carries, especially that rolling piano. Number 66, And I Love Her. This is a nice, tender song, one of the staples of A Hard Day's Night. Number 65, For No One. Like She Said, She Said, I used to think this song was overrated Revolver-wise, but something about the Super Deluxe version spoke to me. I really like the jangly piano now, the trumpet solo's nice, and the lyrics aren't as oversaturated as maybe they should be. Number 64, The Night Before. The drums are great in this song. Ringo is definitely bobbing his head while he drummed to this. Number 63, Nowhere Man. Interesting lyrics plus catchy bass. Good work, guys. Number 62, I'm Only Sleeping. I think it was Pete Townsend or Ray Davies. One of them said that this was the best song in Revolver at the time, and I could see where they were coming from. This is trippy, but not too trippy as, Tomorrow Never Knows for the time. Number 61, Girl. This is actually a top 5 Beatles song for me. Everything about this song is great. The complex chord, the melancholic mood, and the funny sniffs at the chorus. Number 60, The Fool on the Hill. This is probably the most harmless song on side 1 of Magical Mystery Tour, and the flutes are funny at the end. Number 59, The Word. This groovy track doesn't give you time to breathe, and thankfully so. I think this is another underrated Rubber Soul track. Number 58, Things We Said Today. This track has a cool gimmick where Paul is predicting the future with his then girlfriend Jane Asher, and it didn't go well. Number 57, Hello Goodbye. I don't understand the disrespect to this song. It's meant to be simple, and it still became a hit. And I think the middle part is my favorite. Number 56, The Long and Winding Road. Same thing here. There will always be the Let It Be Naked purists that hate the strings and the choir. But I still think Phil Spector did a great job, setting that melancholic mood for the end of the Beatles. Number 55, I've Just Seen a Face. There's no other Beatles song like this one. It doesn't let you breathe and it's all acoustic. It's great. Number 54, I Saw Her Standing There. This is a great introduction to the Beatles. It's got a little backstory if you want to research that, and it's super simple. Number 53, I Should Have Known Better. This is probably the first example of the Beatles showing their influence from Bob Dylan here, and it's probably the best they ever used their harmonica. Number 52, I've Got a Feeling. This is the last Lennon-McCartney hurrah in my opinion. It's sort of like A Day in the Life in the respect that, each brought a little mini song, they combined it and became a normal song. Well, not normal, it's a good song. Number 51, Blackbird. Don't get me wrong, I think this is a near perfect song. Great guitar, great lyrics and vocals, laid back, usually like the rest of Paul's stuff on the White Album. I've never seen the appeal to this one. Number 50, I Want You, She's So Heavy. This song rocks like none other than Beatles' entire discography. It somehow reminds me of Led Zeppelin's Dazed and Confused. Number 49, If I Needed Someone. This is some of the best harmonies the Beatles ever did, and the Byrds' influence isn't a hindrance at all here. Number 48, Two of Us. This is just proof that, the Get Back sessions weren't as bad as they ever seemed. Number 47, No Reply. This is the highlight of Beatles for Sale, and it comes right off the bat. It all gets worse from there. I'd say because of the subject matter, this is the true start to their artistic evolution. Number 46, We Can Work It Out. The fact that Paul's writing about reconciliation instead of breaking up or fighting makes this song already interesting. And John's harmonies take over in the chorus in a good way. Number 45, I Will. Don't let the short length of the song fool you. This is definitely a bit of masterwork. This song took 67 takes, and the reward was a pretty perfect pop song. Number 44, You've Got to Hide Your Love Away. Yeah, this song is John imitating Bob Dylan again, but, that's just one top 5 artist imitating another. So, it's a great piece on Help. Number 43, Taxman. A scathing introduction to Revolver, and it's finally got George at the front. It's got a cool bridge between the pop rock evolution that Rubber Soul brought and the psychedelic phase that the Beatles were entering with Revolver. Number 42, Hey Bulldog. It still might be their most underrated song ever. Great bass, and one of their best guitar solos too. Give it a listen. Number 41, Michelle. This is one of the Rubber Soul songs the public loved the most, and it's not hard to see why. It's a very beautiful song. Number 40, Don't Let Me Down. Do not listen to the single version. It is crap compared to the Let It Be Naked version or the one of the Super Deluxe, which is their first rooftop performance. It's a great group effort, but the single version, dodge it. Number 39, Get Back. It's hard not to like this bluesy song. John once called this a better Lady Madonna, although I don't really see it. It's definitely another example of Paul's skill at telling stories. Shoutouts to Billy Preston for the snazzy keyboard solo. Number 38, Day Tripper. This song was complex for the time. For a reference, Stone's Satisfaction was at the top of the charts when John decided to work on this song. And, the guitars keep climbing up in the melodies, and it keeps the song interesting to this day. Number 37, Helter Skelter. This is sometimes called the original metal song. Similar to I Want You, She's So Heavy, this song is like no other in the Beatles' entire discography, and that's a good thing here. It's a shame what happened due to this song, but still good. This used to be my favorite Beatles song of all time, but the lyrics sort of tired me out, which is a shame. Number 36, All My Loving. Super early rollicking number. They open on the Ed Sullivan Show with this one, and it's not hard to see why. Super catchy, easy to remember, easy lyrics, all the stuff they remember for now and then. Number 35, I Feel Fine. I feel like Ringo's drums are underrated here. It really keeps the song rolling along. Another classic. Number 34, Can't Buy Me Love. Another great Paul song. Shouts to George's jangly guitars, sort of buried in the mix, unfortunately. Number 33, I Am the Walrus. This is like if you combine Rain with Revolution 9 with Glass Onion. The only thing holding it back from a 10 is the really annoying outro. Number 32, If I Fell. This is easily one of the most pretty songs. John once called it a precursor to In My Life. Easy to see the beauty that's already present here. Number 31, Paperback Writer. I've never heard a song that talks the chorus and works like it does in Paperback Writer. And people forget that this song actually rocks. Number 30, It Won't Be Long. Super fast. All the yeah, yeahs. They're a great introduction to With the Beatles. Number 29, You're Going to Lose That Girl. This is just another example of the Beatles developing lyrically in Help. And I like the threatful tone here. It keeps things interesting. And I like the jingly guitar part right after they say, I'll make a point of taking her away from you. That little part, the guitar after that, it's great. It's my favorite part. Number 28, I'm So Tired. Our first 10. This is probably John's best vocals on any Beatles song. It shows his complete range. Number 27, Twist and Shout. This is another example of John's great vocals. They had to record this at the end of the album, so his vocals won't be shredded for every other song, and it's not hard to see why. Number 26, Eleanor Rigby. This song alone basically created an entire genre, which was Baroque pop, and that's super cool, super groundbreaking. Paul showing off that he's a good storyteller. Number 25, Penny Lane. It's Paul's take on Strawberry Fields Forever. A classic feel-good song, and you can feel Paul's nostalgia here. Number 24, Here Comes the Sun. Great opener for side 2 of Abbey Road. Showed that there could have been some potential for the band, even though there really wasn't. Number 23, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. This is the trippy LSD, literally but not really, Beatles song. I really like John's part where his voice is super echoey. He's talking about cellophane flowers. Number 22, Ticket to Ride. For the time, this was heavy stuff, but heavier than anything on the rest of Help, or even Rubber Soul for that matter. Good song. Number 21, Tomorrow Never Knows. Talking about being ahead of the curve, this song still sounds like it's from the future. It also probably shows the first example of sampling ever used in music, where John took passages from the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Number 20, Happiness is a Warm Gun. In my opinion, this is like the older brother of the Abbey Road medley. The sum is definitely greater than the parts here. Number 19, All You Need Is Love, the quintessential song calling for unification. And it's written in less than 2 weeks, that's impressive. Number 18, Help. For a pop song, this got some phenomenal, relatable lyrics. Add in a breakneck pace, and you got a song that deserves its title track. Number 17, Norwegian Wood, This Burn Has Flown. This is typical of Rubber Soul in the evolution of songwriting. John is opening up more and more about his affair, and the mystery at the ending is still up for debate. Number 16, She Loves You. This is a song that made the Beatles, at least in their home country. It was still the best-selling single of the 60s, a decade full of Paramount singles. It's not hard to see why. The point of view provided is something completely new for the time. Super fast beat by Ringo, and the introduction of Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Number 15, Revolution. Similar to Helter Skelter and She's So Heavy, this is one of those Beatles songs that rocks way harder than the average Beatles song, which is a good thing. This is like the Beatles version of the Stones' Street Fighting Man. Number 14, Rain. To this day, this song's still being slept on. Ringo has often said that this might be his best drumming on any Beatles track, and it's not hard to see why. Hint, in the new Super Deluxe edition of Revolver, they have the original version of Rain sped up, and it's impressive. Number 13, A Hard Day's Night. The opening chord here is probably the most famous chord in all of rock history, which is, that's something. Also, this is another example of the Beatles taking a phrase similar to Can't Buy Me Love and turning it into a great song. It actually comes from one night. They were hard at work, and they came outside, and Ringo said it's been a hard day, but when he saw it was dark out, it turned into Hard Day's Night. Number 12, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. This is the song that made Paul have to respect George, but even then he didn't do it until he had to bring in Eric Clapton for the guitar solo. Mick Jagger once complimented the song by saying only a guitar player could write a song like this. Number 11, Come Together. This is the most famous bass part in any Beatles song. Really cool, swampy, bluesy sound. George Martin once said that this is the best example of the four working together. John's vocals, Paul's swampy bass, George's guitar solo at the end, and Ringo's filling in drum beat. Number 10, Let It Be. People forget how soulful this song is. It's got a great guitar solo, great lyrics about Paul, how he saw his mother in a dream, cool keyboard. It's got everything. Number 9, In My Life. John once said that this was the first real song he ever wrote, and everything else was basically crap. And when you look at it and compare it to something like It's Only Love from just an album before, it's not hard to see why. Just like everything else on Rubber Soul, this is a huge step forward. Number 8, Here, There, and Everywhere. Just like how Revolver was an upgrade from Rubber Soul, I think Here, There, and Everywhere is an upgrade from In My Life. And I still think, even at number 8, this is still an underrated song. Paul once said that this might be the greatest song he's ever written, so you should go give it a listen. Number 7, Something. This is George's finest moment. This was the moment where he told Paul how to play the bass line and would not accept changes, which is something that hadn't happened before, and it resulted in one of Paul's best bass lines ever. John once said this was the best song on Abbey Road of all albums. Paul said it was the best song he'd ever written. Number 6, Yesterday. Fun fact, this is the first Beatles song recorded by just one Beatle at a time. Of course, it's Paul. And this is a mythical song, It came out of a dream, apparently, and Paul there it was, and he recorded the song, knocked it out of the park, covered 1 billion times, deserves it, great song. Number 5, I Want to Hold Your Hand. She Loves You might have kicked off the Beatles in their home country, but this is what made Beatlemania in the US, and it's a perfect pop song. They couldn't have made it any better. Number 4, the Abbey Road medley. This is the most critically underrated Beatles song. You Never Give Me Your Money is Paul coming out of his granny music phase, at least for a bit, until his solo work. Then people bag on Sun King and say it's the worst part of the medley, but it's actually my all-time favorite song out of all the Beatles songs. So yeah, I think Polythene Pam, that part's good, but the real highlight of the medley is Golden Slumbers and To Carry That Weight into the End, which is a great outro for the Beatles as a whole. The sum is definitely much greater than its parts here. If you want to listen to the medley, do not listen to the long track on Spotify that's called The Long One. Listen to each individual track and let it segue into each other, because the other one takes out some harmonies and just makes it sound worse in general. Number 3, Strawberry Fields Forever. This is the Beatles at their exquisite... Number 3, Strawberry Fields Forever. This is an exquisite tale of loneliness. This is John at his most introspective and really cool story about his childhood. It's a major shame this was never on Sgt. Pepper. Number 2, Hey Jude. The first 3 minutes of the song are literally perfect. It's probably the best 3 minutes in any Beatles song, especially the background harmonies on the bridge. The last 4 minutes are an enjoyable coda still. You know this song is good when it ever increasingly uncomplimentary John said that this was one of Paul's masterpieces. And number 1 is, of course, A Day in the Life. Is anyone surprised its epic scale wasn't even realized as the GOAT until around the 80s? There will never be a song that hits like this one. Well, that is the list. Let me know which ones you hate, because everyone's going to hate a part of this. Make sure to buy the new classic cookie. It's out now. And thank you all for watching. Goodbye.